Hey there. So let's talk about weight loss over 40 this week. It's a really important area to touch on because all the things that you used to do when you were younger no longer work when you're in your 40s, basically. And I want to show you a really simple way that is going to allow you to manage your weight more effectively. Because losing weight after 40 is no longer about calories in versus calories out. It's so much more than just the simple calorie equation. What we've got to focus on is insulin. Insulin is our blood sugar hormone, and it is designed to help keep our blood glucose levels really steady. But it also has a big role to play in fat burning and in fat storage. If your insulin levels are high, you will be more prone to fat storage. And if your insulin levels are high, you'll be less prone to burn fat for fuel. So if your insulin levels are low, you'll be more prone to be able to burn fat for fuel, basically. Now, as we age into our 40s, our insulin levels become desensitized, or we become desensitized to insulin, which means when we eat something that is sugary, it will spike our insulin much more quickly. And so instead of burning fat for fuel when we've eaten something sugary, we will store the excess glucose as fat. And the common response to that is to think what I need to do is restrict calories even more. And I'm here to tell you that you don't need to restrict calories even more. You need to focus on getting your insulin levels really nicely balanced. Now, there's a number of things that you can do to help you balance your insulin levels. The first one is to focus on getting it right at the beginning of the day. Get the food that you eat first thing, whether it's first thing in the morning or whether it's later on in the morning, but it needs to be protein-based, because protein doesn't have the same relationship with insulin as carbohydrate does. So if you're eating toast, or if you're eating a muffin, or if you're eating a cereal bar, whatever it is for breakfast, that's all carbohydrate, and that's going to spike your blood glucose levels really quickly. So whilst you may not be over your calorie levels, if your blood glucose levels are spiking and crashing and insulin is rising in the system, insulin is always going to be blocking the burning of fat for fuel. So you really want to be thinking about keeping insulin low so that you can then start using your fuel. So use your fat stores as your fuel source, basically. And when you get your insulin levels steady, it becomes so much easier to manage your weight. I will help clients over a period of 2-3 months easily manage their weight down by 12, 15, sometimes 20 pounds, just to help them. But just by getting their blood sugars balanced, basically. It's a really simple thing to do. The first thing to do is make sure you're having protein for breakfast. Do not eat sugar on an empty stomach, because that will spike your blood sugars really quickly as well. And try to move after you have eaten in order to use up some of that glucose in your bloodstream and give your insulin a job, basically, to do by taking in sugars into the cells. So if we can keep insulin low, we can find ourselves becoming a more efficient fat burner, because the hormones that interact with insulin, if insulin is high, the hormones that interact are fat storage hormones. If insulin is low, our hormones that interact are fat burning hormones. So that's your simple tip for this week. Focus on having protein first thing when you first eat. Focus on moving after you have eaten, and make sure that you are consuming foods. Don't ever eat sugar on an empty stomach. Consume your foods. If it's a sugary, even fruit, for example, needs to be consumed after you have eaten a main meal or a protein-rich meal in order to keep your blood sugars nice and steady. I hope that you found that useful. If you want any more information, all the links to my programs are in the comments below. Take care. Bye-bye.